Hey, welcome to the 10-Minute Daily Reality Check. David Wygant here, Jon Keegan in the house. We got Jonathon Astley on a phone because Jonathon created some controversy on Facebook. Jonathon, if you don't know him, is a great friend who's one of the best female dating coaches in the entire worldwide. Nice. He decided to stir the pot a little bit last week, and I loved it. So I wanted to have him on the show, and I'm going to read his post, and then we're going to talk about it. In recorded history, I've never read anywhere where a man's penis or balls shrank because a woman initiated or asked a man out on a date, even the first one. But if it did happen, does it really matter? Only a weak man allows himself to be emasculated. So, Jonathon, man, what made you come up with... I know you and I have talked about this a lot, and it's definitely stirred the pot up on the world of Facebook. But the question is, do you think any of these women are actually going to listen? Because there was a lot of anger in there as well. Like Brenda said, there's an increasing number of weak-ass men. Most successful women just give up. Oh, yeah, you say it, Brenda. Go ahead, Brenda. Just keep giving up.
Brenda doesn't take any responsibility for her own life. Blames just all men. The blanket statement of blaming other people.
Yep. Brenda is a blanket saint. So, Jonathon, what do you feel about this post, man? Did you feel you got the right response? Do you feel like you got some great answers? Or do you feel like just women are just pissed off and they don't want to do a fucking thing?
Well, thank you so much, David, and I appreciate you allowing me to be a guest. And hi, John. Good to talk to you as well.
Hey, Jonathon. Great to meet you, too.
So here's where the post really, Janae, came from. Because, rather than talk about what was written, I really want to say where this originated from was a woman saying to me, hey, Jonathon, I'm communicating with a guy online, and, he's being a little bit passive. Is it okay if I initiate a date to meet him? And I said, absolutely, because what's the worst that's going to happen? He's going to say no. Now, if his no is because his balls shrank, as the post kind of outlines, do you really want to date that guy anyway? Only a weak man allows himself to be emasculated. And if he says yes, then you go on the date and you see what happens. I mean, why are we so caught up in this traditional expectations about dating, mating, and relating that men have to do all the work, per se, and women just sit there and kick back and do nothing? I'm just suggesting here that it's not going to fuck up the dynamic of men and women just because a girl says, hey, I like you. Do you want to meet for coffee? I mean, why is that such a big deal? I don't get it.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, which is so funny because a lot of women are sitting around and they applaud Bumble. I mean, Bumble is women putting on their penis and contacting men first, okay? That's how it was started, right? And now all of a sudden, and this is something that you know and I know, men instead would rather have a tooth drilled with no Novocaine than actually go and approach a woman on a street or approach a woman in Starbucks.
That's
right?
I'm sure.
So we've all made it so easy for the sexes to really reverse the roles that are really the roles that are supposed to be. But if you look around you, every single day, women are not open. These women that complain like Brenda, who says there's weak-ass men, I can imagine Brenda.
What a horrible thing to say.
But you know what? Okay,
what a horrible
David,
thing to say, Brenda.
I want to jump in because, David, I love you. And I say this with all sincerity, but I completely disagree with you here.
All right, good. Disagree with me.
I want to say that, yes, walking up to a complete stranger and saying hi, going and getting your tooth drilled probably might feel better. But the reality is this, okay? So let's deal with the reality, is that you're acting as if single men and single women are just walking around and they're bumping into each other all the time, and that's not really the case. When I'm out in public, I'm maybe going to the grocery store, I may be dropping off my kids at school, I'm doing a variety of things, and I'm not in male pursuit mode. Okay, not male pursuit mode, but pursuit mode. I'm just doing my daily things. And so it's much harder to meet someone, to walk up to them when you're in a different mode of operation versus when you're in an online dating site or Bumble. Everybody is there because they are kind of along the same page. They want to meet someone and possibly go on a date. So you have a pool of people all in the same spot, if you will, versus when you're out in public. And this is where I disagree with you. And here's the thing. In my age demographic of where I coach, which is that midlife crowd of, over 45, 50% of all new relationships are happening through an online connection. So let's not discount that.
Okay, first off, John and I are going to say something, and I'm going to say something. We're both going to say something. First off, it's not even pursuit mode at all, because that's where I think a lot of people have it wrong. It's about connection mode, and I think we've been taught wrong, especially when you hit a certain age. Maybe a 21-year-old that's humping the street lamps because he's so turned on, he's always on pursuit mode. But a man and a woman, to me, it's about casual encounter mode, because that's when the serendipitous moment should happen. So when you're at Whole Foods and there's a woman behind you in line, instead of the woman burying herself in her phone, which the minute a woman sees a man look at her in public, she literally goes to blowjob neck, which is the neck that heads down towards the phone, right? She's always doing that. The fact of the matter is, we shouldn't think about it's pursuing. We should think about a casual conversation that leads to a connection, because that's what I've been teaching for 17 years. John, go ahead.
Also,
by the way, I fully agree with you 100% on that one. It's about connection. So, but can I say something though, David? And you know me, I'm a heart protector for women. I coach women. And what I hear from you is you're making it out to be the women wrong, because men are equally looking at their phones and staring at them and doing all those things as well. So it's not just a one-sided event, okay?
But let's say this. Being out there, it typically is, for whatever reason, as you just said earlier, it typically is the male's job to go up and say hi to the woman. It's his job to take that first risk. And it's her job to be open, at least to a social exchange. My post proposes that a woman could do the same thing. Yeah, she could, but let's be honest, she never does.
Well, let's start changing that.
Yeah, I would love that. But I think there's just the point where, there is an online pool, but a lot of people, some people are connecting online, but a lot of people aren't. They're not finding those deep connections. And there is a lot of single people in a place like LA or New York or Miami or a lot of big cities. You are banging into a lot of single people who are on those same websites and not connecting on them, but yet have lost the art of being open in real life. I was just down in Cuba, where they don't really have smartphones attached to their hip all the time. And the people, because they don't really have Wi-Fi, the people are so much more open, like we might have been in the 90s, to what's happening around them, and not down on their phones, not buried, not hiding their social anxiety behind their phone or their Instagram. So it's just that. I do want to check in, and you're absolutely right. But this is the world today, and what I want to say about women being approached, again, I'm coming from that heart protector. You have to understand, women tend to get objectified a lot by men. Okay, so one of the reasons why they might have a little bit of space or distance is because traditionally, men have been kind of mean to women. And so, because they're only in it for the sex and not something deeper. So I want to give women credit here for a moment. And I'm not disagreeing with you. There are a lot of women that have resting bitch face and everything else under the sun. But there's often a reason behind that. And that's where I focus on. What's behind the mask that we wear? What's really going on? Why are men afraid to approach a woman? Because they might get this reaction. Why does a woman react that way? It's because she might have been hurt in the past. Let's come from a place of compassion and not criticism, is where I'm coming from. Well, I like what you're saying. I do. However, men, let's also stop, because there's also, and you make great sense. It's just that, because we don't want to be divisive. And it's not like, obviously, first of all, there are women who are open. Almost every girl I've ever dated I approached them, in an everyday place, and they were open to meeting me. So that happens every day, in fact. So
we look for open energy.
Yeah, so we find open energy, and I find it every day, almost everywhere I go. So there's plenty of open women. But there's women also who are struggling, and then they're getting angry and frustrated, just like guys who are struggling, and they're getting angry and frustrated, and then we start blaming the opposite sex, or we start blaming...
That's wrong.
Yeah, and that's...
Well, wait a second, Jonathan. And you see this all the time on Bumble. You see Bumble and Tinder and online dating. Women they post what I call the angry bitch profile. They're like, no hookups, no this, no this, no this. I'm 5'9", I wear heels, I need to tower over men. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like they write very angry words. I love my wine. No shit, every picture is 5 glasses of you drinking wine. Obviously, that's how you're numbing your life, So it's like if we're going to be online and we're going to bury our faces in our phone, both men and women, then write an inviting profile and find that you will meet more people. The fact of the matter is, people are complaining about Bumble. They're complaining about being online. They're angry about it because men aren't approaching. They're angry that they're not meeting anybody. So if you're going to do something, do it with an open heart. Like if you look at, I make fun of Bumble because I think it's funny, but my profile is really open and really beautifully written.
Your profile doesn't have you with your shirt off and standing in front of your sports car. So let's not look at. I hear where you're coming from, but let's call the other side of what men are doing on these dating apps too. Okay, let's not make this one.
And there is a lot of sexual innuendos.
Wait a second, Jonathan. Wait a second. I put a picture of me up on the beach in a bathing suit only because the other day I did this as a test trial run because women put bathing suit pictures of themselves up. So I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Let me see if I can meet my equal bathing suit buff fucking body that way. Because there's a double standard about that as well. Because women, they put a bikini picture up and it's perfectly okay. I put a mankini picture up and all of a sudden I'm criticized for it.
Well, if you had your shirt off standing in front of your car, I think that's going a little overboard, just like what you suggest with women. And, here's the thing. It would be great if we actually approach this with a lot of compassion, a lot of heart, instead of a lot of criticism. And that's where I'm really coming from here, David.
He makes good points to me. You make good points, Jonathan. David can be very critical.
You said something so important because it's about creating connection. And what my post was all about is a woman can initiate connection as equally as a man can. Because all it is a first contact. It's a saying saying hello.
Hello! It's like a Jewish thing. Hello, everybody! Hello!
Say hi and hello.
Yes.
It's about this saying hello. I'd like to get to know you. That's it. And it shouldn't, and in my opinion, it shouldn't have to come from this hierarchy of men have to do all the chasing and women just sit there in the feminine role. It's a dance. It's like a seesaw. That's what my hope is, that people start approaching love and relationships more as a dance instead of this driven expectation that men are supposed to do this and men are supposed to do that.
Well, we're out of time because this is only 10 minutes. We're going to have you back on because I love what you post, and I think it's great. For all of you, 10-minute daily reality check every single day. You'll hear more from Jonathan and Jon plenty of different times. I'll actually bring Jonathon into the studio because it's such a fancy studio. And that's it, man. Thanks for joining today, Jonathan. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Jonathan. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Jon.
Come back again for self-help that doesn't suck.